Happy Thursday.
Happy Thursday, too. Okay. Hopefully y'all had a good week. Question one, week one. I can't remember the exact phraseology that they used, but something to the effect of looking at the myths of marriages, and there were 4 of them. I know that this is our third
Real
time.
impactful.
Real impactful, yes. I mean, well, okay. But again, have you been able to have those conversations with your spouse? Have you been able to determine where are you? What myths did y'all have as y'all approach marriage in y'all's first year or two of marriage? And then where are you now? Are there still myths there that you haven't acknowledged? And again, I think with just in anything, acknowledging and becoming aware of where you are can be I'm going to say refreshing, but I don't think that really translates, but it can be very eye-opening so that you know where you're going. It's just like going to the mall. In order to go to Foot Locker, it's kind of difficult if you don't know how to get there. So you go up to a kiosk and they always say, you are here. So if you know where you are, then you have a good understanding of knowing where you're going. And so part of that is the whole philosophy behind this week of debunking the myths of marriage, the 4 that they lay out in the content, and really trying to analyze and assess where are you, so that you have a good understanding of where you want to be and how do you get from where you are to where you want to be. And so again, I hope that this has been a good week. I hope it's been a challenging week. But again, just as these challenges arrive throughout the duration of our time together, hopefully it's going to allow you to become stronger physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, as well as you continue to become one with your spouse and allow anything to come between you. And so,
Yeah, what he said. No, with each challenge, we know some of y'all have chimed in, some of y'all have been silent, and we understand it's hard to be vulnerable and open up, especially with a lot of people being complete strangers. But sometimes that could be even easier because they're complete strangers and they don't know where you've been or where you're going. But I know all of us have that desire to strengthen our marriage, no matter what stage you're at, how long you've been married, what's gone on in your past, where you're at now. It doesn't matter. We're all just working towards being closer and being more united through our marriage, through life in general. But we were also talking that through life there are some irritants with your spouse.
No.
And so just to know, or let y'all know, we are far from perfect in our marriage.
What?
I know.
Yeah.
Sorry to break it to you.
Yeah, really.
But you might be like us and have some little things that your spouse might say or might do, actions that kind of...
We weren't going to bring those up in front of them, but
Yeah,
okay. Okay, set it back down.
that might bother you, annoy you. So we thought we would just share a couple with y'all just to let y'all know we are real. So is there anything, love, that...
How about you start? You start out.
Okay, well, so I will say early on in our marriage, and most of our marriage, Brady was...
You didn't say you were going to say most. You were just going to say early on.
Most...
Now you're painting a picture of me. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, Brady was often prone to... I'm the chef in the house. Not that I'm a superb one, but I am the one that cooks. And so a lot of times early on we said, okay, whoever cooks doesn't have to clean up. And
that was never a verbal rule. It was more of a kind of a subliminal message or a covert message, if you will.
Understood that, I mean, come on, whoever cooks.
I think anytime you have to do bunny ears, then I think it's just not ever understood, right? I think it's just kind of given a covert dynamic.
Anyways,
if we put it
back to the story.
Okay.
So, but he would be the one to clean up, and he would often, after dinner, even before kids and after kids, fall asleep and say he'd clean the kitchen and then fall asleep,
I would say I would. And not
You
that I
didn't
said
say
I.
when.
Yeah, well, I said it's not like I said I did and then go
Those
fell
fine
asleep.
details.
Right? Yeah. I mean, context, right?
Yeah.
Content.
So then he would end up going to bed, and it would build up in me just a frustration that, here I am doing all the cooking, now doing all the cleaning. And yes, I could leave it until the next day, but
It wouldn't bother me though.
he knows that's not my personality. And all, as he just shared, he wouldn't bother him. True statement. But so I would just hold on to some bitterness, and I'm not one to let it out and thrash out at him. And I just let it go until the next time.
She'd only beat me up on the weekends, and so that kind of stuff.
Just if you see bruises,
a little spousal abuse, but she's getting better.
Yeah. This is gonna be on YouTube,
Oh.
There's no physical abuse. Going downhill fast.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. Rabbit trail, squirrel. But I felt just kind of a bitterness to an extent at times that would well up in me, just knowing each time he said that he would clean, that I would be let down again. And it never affected our marriage in a horrible way, but I would internalize, and then that would lead, if he ever did something else or said something else, then I might want to throw it back at him. And, just like the Lord, whenever you sin, you ask for forgiveness, you are forgiven. He doesn't keep account. And unfortunately, I would keep account. And when he first taught this book with his class, in the winter, it was just amazing, kind of an eye-opener for him of what he was doing. And not that it was to belittle me or because he didn't want to help. He had a long day at work. He was tired. He wanted to come home and sit, which is understandable. But I had a long day with kids, with different things, and taking care of a home and everything I do. And I want to sit too, but I still have my job going on. But it was just refreshing, the change I saw in his heart and just the repentance that he came to me, just apologizing for those times. And so just even little things like that, what is kind of something, or was something that would be so frustrating or annoying to me, and just how the Lord helped reveal to him and how it's changed in our lives has been a blessing.
Yeah.
That's been mine. So.
I have none.
Halo.
No, I think my biggest is, and it even happened, when was the last time it happened? 2
hours ago. Maybe three.
Oh, okay, 3 hours ago. So, and again, there's grace. There always is. But I had to go proctor a final, and so I asked Bryn. We've been talking with Berkeley and Brian, our kiddos, about bringing them lunch to school, and it's something that I've been meaning to do. Just, of course, timing, that type of stuff. So I made sure to clear my schedule for the afternoon so that I could take lunch to them, and I asked her to find out the lunch hour and all the specifics so that I can make sure I get there on time. And so go to South Lake to proctor the exam. It gets finished, and I'm running a little bit late after answering some questions for students, getting to tell them, goodbye for the summer, that what have you. And then so a downpour, so I'm running to my car. I'm soaked because my rain jacket's actually in the car, which is great planning on my part. And to call Brand to find out the specifics, didn't answer. So I'm like, okay. So I called again, didn't answer. I'm like, okay. So I'm gonna call again. And I'm not usually that individual that calls a lot of times, but I'm like, no, I'm gonna keep calling because I need to know this to make sure that our kiddos have lunch because they didn't take a lunch. And it's a school that doesn't have a cafeteria or anything like that. You have to bring your lunch. And I didn't want my kids to go hungry. And so I called her multiple times and nothing. And so I'm a little perturbed at this point because I'm sitting there thinking, okay, here I am trying to get all the way, probably 30 miles across the DFW area, so that our kids have lunch and the opportunity of getting to spend time with them. And I'm a little irritated at this point. And so after about 6 times, yeah, you would have thought after the second one, I probably would have known that she's unavailable.
I answered on the 6th.
Oh, you did? Okay. You'd have thought after the 5th time, I would have come to the understanding that she's unavailable. But I'm thinking, well, okay, she didn't have anything going on. I knew where she could be or where she would be, but yet I'm like, why didn't she have her phone? So get halfway down the highway, and I call her again. She answers, and immediately she's like, oh, I was supposed to get you that information, what have you. By that time, I had already cooled down, and it wasn't a big deal because I had already called the school and knew exactly when their lunch time was. So it wasn't a big thing, but I guess, just the aspects of having cell phones, and calling multiple times and not being able to get a hold of her if something is of time is of the essence and time of desperation, need to talk with her right then and there. And so what have you. And so again, like Brendan said, are we perfect? We're far from it. Do we have things of irritants? Yes. And again, I guess that's that thing, kind of like the whole myths, even though I can't remember off the top of my head how much they go into this, but what is the expectation of that? Guess what? You're going to get along 100% of the time. I think one of the things that I like about the parrots and their background and their belief is they even teach you how to fight fair, which, one of my expectations was that you just never fought, right? Not because it's not what I did. It's not because of anything that I did or didn't see when I growing up. It was just a conception that great marriages, you don't fight. But again, if you live in close proximity with anybody for a long period of time, even if you're by yourself, you're going to get upset with yourself, right? And it happens. And so again, what's that realistic expectation? And what do you do in those moments when you do get irritated? Do you hold a grudge? Do you communicate? Do you have to decompress? What does that look like so that you can come back to the atmosphere and and be able to have a conversation, be able to communicate, and whatever that looks like, so that there can be some type of resolve. And not like Brennan would say, it would become internalized as a result, and now it creates a divide between you and your spouse, which happens, I think, more times than not. And there are times in my past when I would do the same thing. Well, she's not doing this, well, I'm going to do this so that if there's anything that ever comes about, then at least I could have this as kind of my trump card, if you will. And so, again, not healthy from a standpoint, but again, learning through great books, great resources, getting healing, getting free, that what does that look like? That it actually has no record of keeping it wrong, but really making sure that if there is something bothersome, that I go to her, go to God first, then go to her, get resolved, because a lot of times it's a lack of perspective, it's a lack of understanding. And so even if it's an agreement to disagree, how do we come to that resolve if all I'm doing is feeding my frustrations and the hypotheticals of where she wronged and I'm right, or whatever that is? And so, and again, a lot of times it wasn't her wrong and I was right. It was me being wrong in a lot of ways. And so, but again, how does this even play a role in the mess that you have about marriage? But even just from the standpoint about expectations and fighting fair, which we'll talk a little bit more about as the group goes on. But what is your expectations? What is it that you come to the table for resolve? And so, Tag, you're it.
Well, I think you pretty much wrapped it up.
Okay, well, that's considered it wrapped up then.
So we just hope that you have gotten some time to go through these challenges. I know some of you have shared in the comments. Some of you have been a little quieter. That's okay. If you are someone who likes the contest, remember you get points for doing these challenges. And if you miss one during the week, because I know life happens, you can post those up through the weekend and still get credit for them, for those points. So
are we in the running for the points too? Do we get... No? I'm kind of holding us back because I can't work out right now, aren't I? So I haven't done well posting my shakes.
Do you want to explain that? Or let them know why you're
that
not
I haven't.
posting?
Yeah, just some stomach problems right now. So if you can think about it, pray for me. And so I'll be ready and chomping at the bits to work out again. And I forget to post my shakes until after I've drank them, and Bren's like, "What? Did you take a picture?" And I'm like, "So I'll get better."
Yeah.
I tease with everybody else, so feel free to tease back with me. It's okay. I can handle it.
A little banter. It's fun. But anyway, so if you still want to do those challenges, we encourage you to take the time. Like today is Thoughtful Thursday.
Thoughtful Thursday.
It's
I see what you did there.
yeah, isn't it nice?
It's very thoughtful.
So go tell your spouse 3 qualities that you love about them. Just take some time pouring into them and taking time to receive some love from them too, and some affirmation. So we hope y'all have an awesome Thursday, and we'll see you later.
We'll see you later. Bye.
Bye.